What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Happy Friday. And speaking of Friday, no practice for the boys out in St. Joseph. So on today's show, we're going to kind of take a look at an updated list of training camp winners and losers based on what's happened through the first, 7, 8 practices or whatever it is up to this point. So stay tuned for that as we'll have some winners and losers coming up. But first, we kind of launched this Real One campaign recently at Chat Sports. Last couple of videos here on the Chiefs Report, the real ones, they light up the comments section by typing real one, so do that now. But we got some merch. We got some t-shirts going on some of our different channels, and we're kind of having a competition on which channel can sell the most shirts. And hey, this one's a good look. You got the red, you got the nice little Chiefs font there too, with the yellow text. Get yours today. Link is right there at chatsports.com/realkc. That is chatsports.com/realkc. Link is in the comments and in the description. You want to be a real one? Type real one. Also, get yourself a shirt as you can represent us here at the Chiefs Report. All right, let's get to some camp winners and losers. Going to kind of keep you guys on your toes. Not going to do all winners at once or all losers at once, but we will start on a positive note. That is Skyy Moore. Outside of briefly leaving a practice with what people thought could be a hip injury, came back the next day and was fine. He's lit it up. Skyy Moore has absolutely lit up training camp in Kansas City. He's made a lot of plays. He stood out in every single practice. And at the most recent practice on Thursday, they even lined Skyy Moore up some in the backfield. Saw a couple of articles of they're using him like Deebo Samuel. Hey, not my words, just what I'm seeing on the internet. Kid's balling out. I mean, what can you say? The kid just looks the part. He runs crisp routes. He always gets open. Mahomes was able to connect with him on a deep ball during Thursday's practice. Also, they're using him in different ways. I think the more he's growing, the more they're moving him around, like I said, with the addition of putting him in the backfield. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think he's going to continue to be a guy to watch. Obviously, we have to wait and see in games how a rookie wide receiver is going to perform, but so far, so good. Skyy Moore, maybe the biggest winner at training camp up to this point. So I'll ask you this question. Who has been the biggest camp winner so far? Has it been Skyy Moore? Is it someone else? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Biggest camp winner up to this point in time. With winners, there are losers, and I got to put Josh Gordon in that losers category because, quite frankly, you're just not hearing much about him. It's been pretty quiet around the veteran wide receiver, and that's disappointing because, last year they bring him in. He doesn't have much of an impact, but by all accounts did all the right things, was a good teammate, etc. And I said after the season, I hope the Chiefs bring him back. He gets an offseason with Patrick Mahomes, and to see if there is any fuel left in that tank, if he can recapture some of that magic from early in his career, not to be an elite number one receiver or something like that, but a contributor. Right now, if cutdown day was today, he's not making this football team. That's just the reality of the situation. He's got to ramp it up quickly. Now, we haven't even played a preseason game yet, so there's still time for Josh Gordon to get into the mix, but with him not being someone who's going to contribute heavily on special teams, he's got to show out on the field at wide receiver, so that better happen quickly. Otherwise, he's going to continue to fall behind in this wide receiver competition. Okay, let's go back to another winner here. Willie Gay Jr., the linebacker who's entering year 3 on this defense. He's picked off Patrick Mahomes a couple of times, which has been nice to see, and that was a trait of his I like coming out of college, even though he had limited playing experience due to being in an academic, scandal at Mississippi State, a couple of other issues as well, but he really covered well and ran well, so I've always liked his upside in coverage, so I like seeing reports that he's snagged a couple of picks in practice. I think this kid's ready to take off. I think that last year it was a mistake to give Anthony Hitchens as much playing time as they did. Not that Hitch was a bad player, but it was clear to me by midseason that Nick Bolton and Willie Gay Jr. were this team's best 2 linebackers. Now Hitch is out. Those 2 guys are going to be the key cogs moving forward at the position, and I think Willie Gay is going to be a big part of that. He also said recently after practice that he's got a goal to lead AFC linebackers in interceptions. I think that's a nice, that's a lofty goal, and I like him setting that expectation for himself because he's got the capability to do it now that he's going to be an every single down player. How about Frank Clark, a third winner here? Listen, Frank Clark has said the right things and looks the part so far at training camp. Again, I want to proceed cautiously because, he's been a disappointing player the last couple of years, but he's acknowledged that. He had a heart-to-heart with Andy Reid at the end of last season where Andy Reid basically said, look, you're not living up to expectations. Your contract is paying you to be an elite pass rusher. You're not being that. Accepts a pay cut, has no problem doing it, cuts liquor and red meat out of his diet, comes into camp lean. He looks quicker. He looks motivated. I like what I'm seeing from Frank Clark right now. Now, again, going to pump the brakes. Well, let's see a couple of games go by in the regular season. To me, preseason games don't even matter for Frank Clark, but the approach and the mindset, I think, is key here. I think, he probably got that $80 million contract, whatever it was, and I don't want to say went through the motions, but you get that kind of money, you're like, man, I'm set. I've put in the grind to get to this point. Now I don't have to keep doing it. Well, no, that's really when the grind starts because A, you want to get another contract down the road, but B, you want to live up to that contract and be a big reason why the team you're playing for is having success. So hopefully he can get back closer to 2019. If we got 2019 Frank Clark, I think we'd be thrilled. That still wouldn't quite be what the Chiefs paid for. They paid for a double-digit sack guy, a menace every single week, but if we got 8 sacks this year out of Clark, consistent pressures, I'd be pretty happy. I would be very, very happy if that were the case with Frank Clark. And if you got that with the addition of Carlos Dunlap, you'd be sitting pretty darn good this season, I think, on that defensive line. Couple of ways to support the show. You can subscribe here on YouTube. We're just over 200 subs away from 31,000 subscribers. But also, and I do recommend you do this, go follow us on Rumble. Almost at 4,000 followers over there. A couple extra benefits of being over there. Uncensored content. Other cool content creators, politics, news, cooking, whatever your flavor is, you can go find that. And you can listen podcast style on Rumble as well, picture-in-picture style. Have other apps open. You will be good to go. Rumble.com/ChiefsTV. Go check us out over on Rumble. Okay, more winners and losers here. We'll go to a loser, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was a huge winner in OTAs and minicamp. At times looked like this team's best receiver, which kind of had me worried, but I was like, he's not going to be this team's number one, but it's only a good sign that he's performing like that. Well, that hasn't necessarily carried over. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm panicking about MVS, but some of the doubts I had coming in when they paid him to this contract are kind of looking that way now. He's had some drops. He's a good deep threat, but he doesn't run the full route tree, so he's got some limitations as well. And as a deep threat, you got to be able to cash in when you get those opportunities. Adam Teicher reported yesterday that he dropped 2 deep balls in a 10-play offensive period. You get 2 chances in 10 plays to come down with some big plays downfield. You got to make at least one of those. He did come back a little bit later and make a catch according to reports, but that's not exactly what you want to see. Now, he's a vet. He's been around. It's camp. I'm not freaking out by any means, but he just simply has not performed the same way he performed earlier in the offseason. Hopefully that turns a corner here, moving forward in camp and on into the preseason games, which begin next Saturday. So with that being said, I've made another alteration to my wide receiver depth chart. Juju wide receiver 1, Skyy Moore wide receiver 2. I'll have MVS wide receiver 3, Hardman 4. I think those are kind of interchangeable. I think 1 and 2 right now, Juju and Skyy are interchangeable, and I think MVS and Hardman are a step behind those two at this point in time. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at this point in time. Okay, between those 4 receivers, rank them right now and just type, for example, Juju 1, MVS 2, Skyy 3, Hardman 4. Whatever your order is, just rank them 1 to 4 down in the comments. I would rank them how I had it on my depth chart. Juju Smith-Schuster 1, Skyy Moore 2, MVS 3, Mecole Hardman 4, but still kind of positionless basketball. I think each guy is going to have times to eat, but right now that is how I would rank it 1 to 4. Let's get to another training camp winner here. Isaih Pacheco, the 7th-round rookie out of Rutgers. He just keeps popping, man. He keeps making plays at training camp. It seems every practice you see a couple of tweets, a couple of videos on social media from camp emerging of Pacheco making another play, whether it's hitting the hole hard or catching a ball. I mean, he had a nice little over-the-shoulder catch on a wheel route from Patrick Mahomes during Thursday's practice where you're like, ooh, that was a nice route and a nice catch because it was pretty tight coverage. So anytime a back can either run a route out of the backfield, downfield, and make a play, or even line up in the slot, which we've heard he's done some and be reliable there as well. He's a multi-dimensional player, and I think he's going to have an impact on this Chiefs football team. Daurice Fountain, who was a huge Chiefs camp winner last year, surprised a lot of us to make this team on the roster bubble again this year. He's a loser right now, not necessarily because of how he has performed, but he is dealing with a groin injury, did not practice on Thursday. And I think especially at wide receiver, if you're beyond those top 4 guys that we've talked about, Juju, Hardman, Skyy Moore, and MVS, you got to be available, because that final 1 or 2 spots to make the roster are up for grabs. And if you're missing practice, those are reps you aren't getting. Now, an advantage he does have, and why he made this team last year, is he can contribute on special teams, so that could save him potentially as we get further, but he needs to get out there, needs to be healthy, and show that he can be enough at wide receiver to justify giving him a roster spot. So wide receiver 5 and beyond, very much up for grabs at this point in camp, and Fountain falling a bit behind perhaps as he is dealing with an injury. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, I did want to include the quarterback as a winner because he just looks sharp. I mean, he looks like a guy who's won an MVP before, won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP before. He's just locked in. He's locked in. He's loaded. This Chiefs offense looks good without Tyreek Hill. Now, again, it's training camp. It's hype season, right? There's not a lot of negativity going on with any team right now. But Mahomes seems focused to me. I think this is a big year for him. There's narratives out there that this team won't be the same without the Cheetah. But I think Mahomes, Kelsey, these vets who have been here and done that, they know what to do, and they're in a good place at this point in time. All right, list your biggest camp winner and loser so far. We asked you guys earlier, biggest camp winner up to this point, so it can be that same person if you want to type his name again below. And let me know who's a camp loser up to this point. Maybe there's someone I'm not remembering that hasn't looked good so far. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Real Ones T-shirts, chatsports.com/realkc. Get the real ones going in the comments as well, and we will see you next time.